Hello, Jack Middleton, the Empowered Vegan here, and in this video, we're making a classic British trifle made vegan, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Empowered Vegan YouTube channel. If you're new here and you want to receive weekly vegan recipes and cooking tips to elevate the way you eat, then you're going to want to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that every Friday when I post videos, you get notified. Have you recently gone vegan and are lamenting the fact that this holiday season you're not going to be able to have the trifle that's on the table? Or maybe you're somebody who's been vegan for a long time and you've just given up on the fact that you can't have trifle. Well, I gotta tell you that if you're in either of those situations, this video is for you because I love trifle and therefore I made a vegan version and now I've made a video to share it with the world. So in this video, we're gonna make a really dope trifle. Step number one, you're gonna make your custard. The reason that we make the custard first is because it has to cool down nicely before we can actually use it for the trifle. The custard is really easy to make and all you're gonna do is you're gonna take all of the ingredients for the custard, you're gonna combine them into the blender, and you're gonna blend the crap out of it. Once it's nice and smooth, you're gonna pour it into a saucepan, put it on the stove, and you're going to cook it on medium-high until it thickens nicely. Now this isn't something that you can walk away from, go on social media, watch a couple YouTube videos. You need to be with that pan on the stove, whisking it the whole time until it thickens. Do not abandon your post. Once it's got nice and thick, you can pull it off of the stove, transfer it to a bowl, and then put that bowl in the fridge and cover it with a little bit of saran wrap so that it doesn't develop a skin on top. If you need it to cool down quickly, what you can do is you can put a bunch of ice water into a bigger bowl, set your bowl with the custard inside of that bowl, and whisk it while it sits in the ice bath, cooling it down quicker. This will also stop any lumps from forming. Step number two, you're gonna make your cake. So first you're gonna wanna grind your almonds up to make an almond flour. If you already have almond flour, great, no problem. So grind them up in your blender and set them aside. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take your dry ingredients and you're going to sift them through a fine mesh strainer, or if you have one of those old school sifters. I actually like one of those. I haven't had one of those since I was a child. Yeah, those are neat. Those were always fun to use. They were kind of like the highlight of baking. I'm gonna get a sifter. Why do we use a fine mesh strainer? Because baking soda, flour, baking powder really like to clump up over time, and this way we can ensure that we don't get nasty pockets of ammonia flavored stuff in our trifle cake. Once you've done that, you can add your almond flour into the dry ingredients and you can give it a good mix around. I like to use a whisk because I find it's really effective. Then you can create a well inside of the flour mixture and you can add in all your wet ingredients. Once you've done that, mix it around until it's formed a nice batter. And if you find that it's thick, then you can always thin it down with a little bit of extra plant-based milk, whatever you used, almond milk, soy milk, any of it's fine. Now, just a quick note here, you can also very easily make this recipe gluten-free. I've done it normal, I've done it gluten-free. They work both ways. All you have to do is sub out the all-purpose flour for an all-purpose flour gluten-free blend. I recommend one with xanthan gum and without chickpea flour, because chickpea flour is gonna make it xanthan gum really just makes gluten-free things work better. Once you've got that pan greased up, then you can put your batter into the pan, stick it in the oven. I check it after 12 minutes, and if the fork comes out wet, then you gotta put it back in. When you put it back in, I put it back in maybe for another 5 minutes, pull it out and check it again. You're gonna keep baking until that fork comes out nice and clean. Once the cake's done, you can set that aside. So this is one of my favorite Christmas desserts, but I would like to know, what are your favorite Christmas desserts? Put in the comments below, tell me. I love hearing about dessert ideas, I love thinking about desserts, I love the idea of making desserts, and I wanna know what yours are. So just give me a little note down below, let me know what they are, and if you have a story associated with one of those desserts, I'd also love to hear the story. Particularly if it's funny. If it's really sad, I don't know if I want to hear it. Okay, step number 3. Step number 3, we're gonna make our compote. Now, I was getting really creative with this compote, and I was like, what are all my favorite Christmas fruits? So I got pomegranate, I got mandarin oranges, and we're chopping those babies up and we're putting them into the compote. The compote is super, super simple. All you need to do is chop up your mandarins, de-seed your pomegranate. Now, if you don't know how to de-seed a pomegranate, or you feel like it's a really difficult task, watch my video on how to de-seed a pomegranate. I guarantee it will blow your mind. So super simple. You're gonna take all of your ingredients except for the tapioca starch, and you're going to put them in the pot on the stove and cook them on medium-high until they start to cook down. Once it's been on there for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, and it's starting to become less liquidy, then you can combine a little bit of water with your tapioca starch, about a tablespoon, and you can add that into the compote. Now, don't just go throwing the tapioca starch right into the pot, because what's gonna happen? It's gonna clump. It's gonna clump, and then there's just gonna be tapioca starch clumps, and it won't thicken properly. So don't be a cowboy or cowgirl, do it the right way. Once you put your tapioca starch in, you're gonna keep cooking it out until it gets nice and thick, and then you're gonna set aside and let it cool. So we're almost done here. You technically could be done right here. If you're like, okay, I'm tired of this, I don't wanna do any more cooking, I'm happy with what I have, I've got my compote, I've got my cake, I've got my custard, I'm a happy camper, that's great. But if you want to take this to the next level, you're going to want to make some coconut whipped cream and put that on the top. Now, if you want to make coconut whipped cream, I've got a really simple, easy recipe that you can follow in a video right here, so you can check that out. The recipe will also be linked in the recipe in the description below. That was confusing. The recipe for this trifle will be down below. Inside of that recipe, there is also a link to my coconut whip recipe. I'm just gonna put both recipes down there to make that easy. Okay, so whether you did the coconut whip or you cheaped out and just did the normal recipe, you're good, it's gonna be delicious. Let's put it all together. Ooh, doesn't that look good? Do you like how I put it in a martini glass? This recipe probably makes about 6, 7, maybe 8 martini glasses worth, but you can also put it into a traditional trifle dish, which I had, but I was like, you know what? This is way cooler. Let's use this. So that's what I did, and it looks great. So you can take that fancy tip from me. It could also look nice in mason jars as well, if you don't have martini glasses around. This is my mom's. I don't drink martinis. Do you think I am, James Bond? So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and hit that bell button, because there are more videos, tips and tricks and recipes coming your way, El Vegano, so that you can elevate the way you eat. Hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.